Hello everyone, welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you are all doing well today. We do have a little bit of an interesting update in addition to the tournament report today. As of the recording of this, yesterday we had the regionals in Mödling, Austria on November 17th. So obviously we're going to be going over the decks and everything that won and all the stuff, because I have interesting opinions for this as well. But we do have a little bit of an update. This kind of happened last second, it seems, but it is an update nonetheless. So as we know, earlier this year and even last year, there was a little bit of things, there were some things going on with certain sets over in Europe and everything due to distribution, copyright stuff. Certain sets could not be used. That is the case with Austria. I'm just stating this, that there's a little bit of we didn't have full representation of stuff that we've seen in the last two regionals. So let's go ahead and look over what exactly they said. If you go over to the Bushiroad.com events site, and you go over to the regional qualifiers under their schedule, obviously they show everything for North Latin America. Obviously, Duluth, everything happened. They did not have, for some reason, did not have anything posted up under the European stuff for several weeks. I've tried to keep an eye on this. Only just this past week, I think during the week leading up to the Austria regionals, did they post anything, any sort of sets that were not allowed. So we do have to go over this. We look up here and we see under the Mödling Austria, please note that the following Weiss Schwarz titles may not be used at this regional qualifier. We could not use Adventure Time. We could not use Avatar, The Last Airbender, Marvel, which is going to be a repeating thing. I kind of took a sneak peek at some of these other ones. Marvel, but that's because they're going to be specifically for the Asia Oceania stuff. Is Marvel and Pixar. I don't think Pixar's out yet. Quintessential quintuplets. This is kind of the big one. Quintessential quintuplets. Card numbers beginning with W83 and W90, which I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, is the second volume and the movie set. So, the ones that begin with W101, which should be the first set, which I believe was an issue in the production company, because it changed, the animation and character designs changed from season 1 to 2 onward. So you could not use the stuff from Quintessential Quintuplets, the later stuff. You could use set 1 stuff, you couldn't use later. Ruby, the card numbers beginning with X03, which I want to say is the premium booster. If I'm wrong, future me will correct me on screen, please and thank you. So the premium booster cards were not allowed, but everything else was allowed. But the cards in the premium booster that help the standby deck and everything to let you do some really interesting shenanigans, those are just really, really powerful and actually give Ruby a very, very nice top end. So that actually matters. If we go back above Mödling and if we go to Sacramento, we actually saw Itsuki top a whole bunch. This involves stuff from Volume 2 and whatnot. And we actually had 2 Itsuki decks, 2 Ruby decks as well. Both obviously involving the 8 standby, and they're cards that really help the end game and everything for that. There's also a promo that's not allowed to be used right now or some shit. I think that's been resolved as of the recording of this video. I could be wrong. But obviously that saw no representation. In Duluth, we had Ichika. We saw a lot of people with Itsuki when we were down in Duluth. I, for one, definitely saw quite a bit of it. I also saw quite a bit of people playing Ruby as well. So the decks do have representation, even if you didn't see it top in the top 16, just because we were there. We were on the ground floor with that. But that is going to be a major thing. So I do want to go over the rest of these just kind of really quickly, and then we'll go back into the actual tournament report. But I just want to let you know, like, you couldn't play against what is the better version of Ruby, and you couldn't play against, like, meta Quints. So that's kind of the big thing. Avatar's kind of already dead. Adventure Time still kind of gets played, but you can't use it at this. So we're going to go through each of them really quickly. Portugal, coming up in Portugal in December. Adventure Time, Mob Psycho 100, not really particular right now. Marvel, 7 Deadly Sins. This is going to be big. I will double check on the numbers and everything, but I'm assuming like later 7 Deadly Sins is, I mean, if you look at, hell, even this, you had, it was like 2 different 7 Deadly Sins for Sacramento, and it was like 3 different ones. 4 different 7 Deadly Sins for Duluth alone. So, I mean, people are quickly learning what that is. Hell, I mean, you even see 7 Deadly Sins in Austria. So, that is a major thing for Portugal. Spain, no Adventure Time, Marvel, or Quints. Once again, I'm not. You can still use first set Quints, to my knowledge. It's just the later sets, the sets that matter. I hate to say that. As much as I love Quints, it's the sets that matter. Germany, just can't use Marvel. That's understandable. We kind of figured that. The UK, Marvel, Pixar, because Pixar will be out by then. France, Marvel, Pixar. So nothing else right now for those. Netherlands actually has 2 that matters. Quints, so Adventure Time, Marvel, Pixar, Quints, and Deadly Sins. 2 that do have representation. I mean, like, especially 7 Deadly Sins. Probably the bigger one of the 2, in my personal opinion. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Asia-Oceania really quick. Nothing for those. Because I think that one didn't even have it. Nothing. Myanmar. It has stuff for Vanguard and Shadowverse. It doesn't say anything for Weiss. Granted, this has Weiss on the schedule. I think Myanmar didn't have Weiss on the schedule. Yeah, it doesn't have Weiss on the schedule, so that's fair. Australia, Marvel you can't use. And that is next month, so that's kind of major. Singapore you can't use Quints. The later Quints. Sydney, Marvel, Pixar. Even though, like, I would have figured that falls under the whole thing. And in Jakarta, Indonesia, you couldn't use later Quints. Okay. So that does matter. Let me see. Peru doesn't have any Peru didn't have Weiss. I guess check, like, Puerto Rico. That doesn't even have Weiss up there. Pasadena, obviously, everything like the state side is going to have, like, you can't use Marvel, Pixar, right? That's fair. I'm not going to worry about the rest of that. Let's get back into the actual thing. So getting to the actual thing, but just wanted to point that out. They did not have to play against certain things for Austria. Just saying there was a lower representation for quintuplets. But it doesn't really matter. Himeno Aki won. Shout outs. Oh my good. Like, this actually caught me by surprise. Because, yes, you were thinking correctly. This is the Himeno Aki that has been restricted, where you can only run 2 copies of this particular Aki, and you have to pick either this level 0 Himeno or another blue level 0 Himeno, and those are on a pick 1 of 2 restriction list. I had to move my head back over from earlier. And, like, so this is under all the restrictions that it currently has, and it's still won. So maybe it was just the matchups were favorable for it, but it just shows how consistent the deck is, even with just 2 of the level 3 Aki. Just saying, that's major. 8 Pants Rimuru, the Rimuru Muran, no surprise really. I think this is the highest legal representation that we've gotten for Overlord. We'll showcase it, just saying. But this is a new tech. Hold on, what do you do? Oh my goodness. It does, the first effect is like Gil Thunder. That's hilarious. Cool, interesting little tech there. Okay. The level 0 It's loading. My internet is shite. Here we go. It's this particular one instead of any like crazy top end, so that way you can run 8 pants. It's that and the Muron setup. Obviously, everyone knows it. The top end is like a bunch of different finishers. Yeah, no, this is spicy. This is some very spicy tech. Literally the first effect is very much like the Gil Thunder from Deadly Sins. That's hilarious. Cool. Shoutouts to Homeboy. The Ainz combo with the level 3 shenanigans you can pull off that just make it so he doesn't die. The level 1 Shaltir combo, obviously. And lastly, we have some Shauna representation again. We will pull that up. So we'll showcase that, but we won't showcase the rest of these. Hololive Polka Choco. Shoutouts to this. I like the tech for this. I did look at the deck earlier. Oshinoko with Door Pants. I think this is one of the first Oshinoko things we've seen, because I don't think Oshinoko was legal for... I don't remember. No. It was legal for... Maybe it was. I don't remember if it was legal for Sacramento. But first topping of Oshinoko. Really cool there. 7 Deadly Sins. Elizabeth Hendrickson needs no introduction. And the Spy Family with 8 pants in the last place there. But still really awesome. Once again, obviously the setup here. Pepega's gonna Pepegate. I love that. Yuji Anti-Burn Shenanigans, using the level 3 Shana from Dengeki Bunko, as you can see by the little thing there. And this particular, which this is very much like Ria's like build from what I'm seeing here, with unable to help her own feelings for the level 0. So really cool there. Really strong as well, most definitely. So gonna see this deck a heck of a lot more. At least it doesn't look like Shauna got like really restricted on any of the European side stuff. It's mainly just Quince and Deadly Sins kind of got the shaft for a bunch of stuff. But I think that has to do with like the production companies and everything between the different seasons and sets and the art and whatnot involved. I think there was like significant changes between each of those. But yeah. Now, one thing I do want to say is we have no repeats. In all of this, there's no repeats. I really, really like that. Even with, like, the other two, with Duluth, we only had, okay, so this one had 3 slime in the top 8. But say, even for this one, there was, like, I don't think there was any repeats for Sacramento. If I'm overlooking it, I don't see it, but from 1st to 8th place, you didn't really see anything, like, predominant. For Duluth you did. You had 3 fucking slime decks. But for Austria, it's all mixed. It's a healthy mix of different things that I love to see. That you don't like to see 1 or 2 decks dominate the entire thing. I thought it was really boring with Springfest back when the Himeno Aki was at full power, and you're just like, oh, it's in every single team. Every single team has a Himeno Aki for obvious reasons. But, Springfest is obviously different from the Fall Fest. So, I like to see... I'm very surprised, but also am intrigued how the Himeno Aki build is still really good representation. Like, I know I didn't say this at the beginning, but it was 100 players as well. It wasn't like it was a low number of players. 100 players is still big. It just didn't have the top 16 cut. But, hell, that's still really cool for Austria. Kudos to everybody who went over there and played. As usual for the tournament reports and everything, feel free to comment down below if you happen to get into the top 8 or if you played at Austria. Let us know what you played, how it went, and everything. Definitely want to hear people's perspectives and opinions on it. Do you feel that it was fairly regulated and all that jazz? I just want to try to keep on top of that. But with that, we're going to be signing off for now. Once again, feel free to comment down below if you were at this tournament. If you were one of the people who topped up here, by all means, please feel free to comment down below. Thank you all very much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check out the video. And feel free to join the Discord. Link for that will be in the description. We will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.